The Three C's meditation. There are 3 stages to this meditation, and as we move through them, we will be exploring the values of curiosity, compassion, and calm centre. In so doing, we are developing the ability to respond with mindfulness towards whatever we notice in our experience. This is one of our longer meditations, so make sure you are comfortable before starting, either sitting in a supportive chair or lying on a bed or mat. You might need a blanket to keep warm. When you are ready to begin, allowing your eyes to gently close. Stage 1, Curiosity. In this beginning stage of the practice, we will be bringing curiosity to our experience. We can start by inviting our awareness into the present moment, deliberately letting go of thoughts or memories about what has happened in our day up until now, and taking a step back from any plans or concerns about the future. Instead, bringing curiosity towards whatever is unfolding in this moment, right now. The type of curiosity we are developing is one in which we gently approach our experience, but we do not need to change it. We aim to be open and accepting towards what we notice. So there is no need to analyse, explain, or make up stories about what we find. Instead, we can let go of thinking and allow our curiosity to be on the level of felt experience. So you might like to start by being curious about a fairly neutral experience. For example, paying attention to what you can hear in this moment. Noticing any sounds arising in terms of tone, tempo, pitch, or volume. Perhaps there are also moments of silence between the sounds. Just listening, allowing your ears to drink in what they will. Does your mind wander at all? Perhaps it is keen to find patterns to the sounds, or to judge noises as pleasant or not. It's easy to get distracted by thoughts, drawn into analysing what we hear. If you notice this tendency, remember this is just what minds do. It's not a failure. Then as best you can, just try to let such thoughts go, returning your full attention to listening to sounds. Then when you are ready, we can let go of listening as our primary focus and bring curiosity to any sensations in the body. Seeing if you can bring a similar attitude towards this. So just as we did with sounds, staying curious and open to what each moment brings. Try to allow any sensations to be exactly as you find them. Noticing what is arising, but not needing to change anything. Some sensations may come from physical processes in the body, perhaps others from our emotions, but seeing if you can approach them all with the same sense of openness. And remembering there is no right or wrong way for you to be feeling in this moment. And we can also bring this open observation towards the mind. What state of mind are you in? Are there any thoughts or images arising? Can you name any emotional experience? Calmness, rested, stressed, dull, excited, tired, or perhaps something else. Again, not judging or analysing what we find. It doesn't matter if our mental state or our emotions are not as we would want them to be. In this stage of the practice, we are just being curious regarding what is already present anyway. If you should notice any distress in this part of the meditation, you may find it helpful to imagine breathing in and out of what you are noticing, grounding yourself in the breath until you feel more settled. Then you might choose to expand your curiosity to see if you can become aware of any reactions arising towards your difficulty. Being curious about thoughts or images that arise, and whether you are able to let them be, or perhaps they draw you into engaging with them. This type of awareness gives us valuable insight into our habitual tendencies when we face experiences. We start to become aware of how our thoughts can impact on our mood, how we feel in our bodies. And we also notice what happens in those moments when we can step back from our thinking. When instead of trying to change things, we simply remained mindful and curious, developing a sense of acceptance towards our whole experience. Remembering not to judge yourself for any insights, not to judge your reactions, keeping your observation one of just a kindly curiosity. As we come to the end of this stage, holding a sense of your whole body in awareness again, including thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, the breath, perhaps any sounds in your environment. Any and all experience arising and falling away, changing, moment by moment. And then when you feel ready, moving on to the next stage of the practice. In this stage, we focus upon compassion. Compassion is a mindful way of responding to ourselves, and it's especially helpful when we face difficulty. In this stage, we will explore various forms of compassion. Some elements may feel more suitable to you than others, so feeling free to tune in and out of the guidance as you wish. But to begin, we will explore the potential of the mind to offer us compassion. A compassionate mind is one willing to let go of criticism and judgment, instead offering kindly support when we need it. It can be helpful to consider this in relation to difficult experiences. So perhaps you noticed some difficulty in the previous stage when we were being curious, and if so, you may want to use this again as the focus of your compassion practice. Or if there is no difficulty in this moment, you may want to bring to mind something that you find somewhat challenging. Or perhaps you use this stage to just develop a wider sense of compassion towards yourself. To begin, noticing if any unhelpful thoughts are present. Is there any self-criticism or judging, perhaps fearful predictions or unwarranted anger or frustration? Taking a moment to consider if this is your normal internal voice. Is this how you usually speak to yourself? Is there a tendency towards these types of negative thoughts? Our first task is to step back from such thinking, viewing all thoughts as simply mental events. They are not facts. It's easy to believe thoughts when they come with a stab of emotion, but often this simply means their content is such that it generates strong feelings, not that they are likely to be more true than other thoughts. So spending a few moments paying careful attention to your thoughts as they arise, practicing letting them go, using the breath as a place to rest some of your attention if that feels helpful. As we start to let go of negative thinking, we can start to relate to our situation with more empathy, seeing if you can bring a deliberate sense of compassion to your experience in this moment. Perhaps imagining how a good friend would offer their support and offering this same type of support directly to yourself. What is it like to be friendly towards your own experience? To help connect to yourself with compassion, you could imagine looking at your own reflection in a mirror and seeing yourself smiling back at you. Perhaps remembering yourself at a time when you felt well and happy. Gently holding this smiling image of yourself in mind for a few moments. Noticing if any difficulty is still present in your experience. Remembering this is not a failure if this is the case. But it can be an opportunity to practice other forms of compassion. For example, we might add a coping statement to our meditation. It could be something quite simple, such as reminding yourself, I'm doing my best, or I'm good enough, or it will be okay. Doesn't matter what you say, so long as you find it supportive and kind. So perhaps now taking a few moments to experiment with a coping statement of your own, seeing if you can drop the phrase into the meditation, maybe repeating it in time with the breath. And when you feel ready, gently letting the phrase recede from awareness, knowing that you can always return to this statement whenever you need it in future. Another form of compassion is to deliberately let go of all thinking, regardless of its content, and to instead simply trust the body to contain any difficulty we encounter. By connecting with a sense of acceptance to the breath and the sensations of our physical experience, we bring a sense of allowing to our situation, one in which we do not need to criticize anything that we notice. Instead, as we connect to the body and its experience of compassion, we can explore sensations with an openness. You might want to pay particular attention to the region of your heart within the chest. Sometimes we can feel the emotions of love and compassion in this area. So perhaps imagining your heart is pumping out kindness towards yourself and the people you care about. As you visualize this, noticing if any sensations arise in this part of the body. Perhaps a sense of warmth or opening or something else. As you get more experience in the practice of self-compassion, you may also find yourself naturally feeling more compassionate towards others. Yet it is important in this meditation to start with yourself, as without kindness towards the self, our efforts towards others can become neglectful of our own needs. So giving yourself permission to practice genuine self-kindness and care. As best you can, responding with compassion to any part of your experience that is receptive to this process. And when you are ready, moving on to the next stage of the practice. Our third C is calm center. This stage is not about forcing calmness onto ourselves or denying our other feelings. Rather, it is the idea that even in the midst of flurry and stress, there is a part of ourselves that can relate calmly to what is unfolding. Once we have been curious and compassionate towards what is arising in the moment, we might find that there is indeed a calmer experience to also be had. However, the route to our calm centre can take many paths. Some people find that just remembering they have one is enough to connect to it. Others find it in the breath, which by its nature tends to help us regulate our feelings and responses. You might want to practice this for a few moments, following your own breath, just breathing in and out to whatever you notice moment by moment. And you can go a little deeper with this by noticing how the movement of the breath also has tiny moments of stillness as the body pauses between the breaths. Seeing if you can pay attention to those little moments of stillness in the body. The subtleness and contrast of stillness and movement in the body is a good metaphor for the calm centre. In that although we might be experiencing a lot of emotions and thoughts swirling around in the heat of the moment, we also have a calm centre from which mindfulness can blossom. Or another way to view this might be through visualizations or imagery, such as picturing elements of the environment that can reflect the mixed nature of our experience. Perhaps imagining a mighty tree with its branches swaying in the wind, leaves pushed around all over the place, but its trunk solid and still, its roots securely held by the ground. Or a vast lake, the surface water roughed up by the wind and the weather, but underneath the waters are deep and calm. Or perhaps you'll have your own image that embodies the qualities of a calm centre within. Sometimes it is helpful to bring a new perspective to our situation. For example, could you imagine you were viewing yourself and any problems from a great distance? How important would they seem viewed from another country or even another planet or solar system? You could also imagine viewing your difficulty from the ancient past or far into the future. Perhaps there might even be some humour in the situation when viewed in a different way. Finding our calm centre isn't about dismissing problems or feelings. It is more a process in which we acknowledge that there is at least a chance for calmness to arise, even within moments that initially seem the opposite of calm. By connecting to this grounded part of our experience, we have the chance to respond with greater mindfulness. We do not need to do this perfectly. To begin, maybe we can only find a tiny sliver of calm, perhaps just a moment between the breaths. Yet in time we can grow this into something steady and reliable, so that we know our calm centre is always just a breath away. As we start to bring the practice to a close, bringing to mind all of the three C's again: curiosity, compassion, and calm centre. Perhaps reflecting on how they resonate with your experience in this moment. Remembering to thank yourself for this act of self-kindness and awareness. And perhaps seeing if you can continue to bring these values into the rest of your day.